Okay. Um... I don't seem to have my window capture set up here. Let's see. Window capture. Ah. Oh, that's not great. Format. Page lists. Yeah. Yeah, that's looking like it might be a bit small for you guys, actually. So if I turn this back to paged, all right. That seems a bit odd on my end, but that looks way better on your end. No, I think let's bring that back down. And I'm just going to increase the zoom on mine. Why are you yanking over there? What? Why? Stop snapping. Okay, that looks a lot better. Which one was... So this is my novel, The Greatest Wish in the Galaxy. And let's lower the desktop sound. I don't remember if that changes it for you guys or just me. Okay, yeah, that definitely changes it for you guys as well. All right. So, do I want to work on my cat novel right now? Trying to think, because I'm trying to work through some writer's block today. I really don't know where I am right now. So, why don't we start by lowering my peaking mic? Jeez. Why don't we start by reading my Federal Super Academy, Totems of Peace. It's a nice little short story that one of the characters in my... wait, why does that pull that far away to the side? On the other one, there was something over here. What is this? Expand comments? Right. Because that one I've had people comment on. But that also means that I can pull this further in. Oh, that's screwing with the aspect ratio. There we go. Federal Super Academy, Totems of Peace. Jeffrey Ashraf Singh stepped into the lunch hall, unsure what to expect. He'd attuned... Let's try starting that over again. Jeffrey Ashraf Singh stepped into the lunch hall, unsure what to expect. He'd attended numerous schools before, but recently they'd all been on military bases. Everyone he knew loved to gloat about the new tricks they'd learned in using their powers, or boast about something their parents had done. While he had plenty he could gloat about, it wasn't as super as everyone else, and he just wasn't the gloating type. What he absolutely didn't expect was to have an old middle school buddy knock him to the floor. Thane laughed deeply and flexed his enormous muscles. Sorry, little dude, Dude! Bro! Wait, Marissa, hold up! Thane helped Jeffrey up to his feet and shoved him over to a pink-haired girl, her aura radiating a rainbow of color. She blinked and waited for an explanation. Dude, this is my bro, Jeffy, from Brighton Air Middle School. The super secret school Big Sam runs in Bangladesh. But what you doing here, bud? This school's only for major super assets. Come think of it, I never saw your power. Marissa lowered her aura and stepped in for a handshake. Nice to meet you, Jeff. I'm Marissa. I'm a power aura projector. Jeffrey shook his head. I'm Jeffrey, and I don't like using my power. And Thane, what are you doing here? Last I heard, you got 30 years for blinding our entire school. What? What? No. It was Omega Nova's light that blinded you. Only because you turned our corneas and our protective glasses invisible during her demonstration. If we didn't have super healers, we'd all be permanently blind because of you. Thane shoved Jeffrey into Marissa and flexed his bulging muscles. Prison got me ripped, dude, and when Uncle Sam sees something he likes, he makes it worth our while to come here. Oh, what's Sammy see in you, Jeffy? A gathering had formed around the scene they were making, though Jeffrey suspected much of it had formed to watch Marissa and Thane fighting before he arrived. I don't like using my power, especially around others. It's too weird. I'm just here to train up body and mind in case they ever need to use me. Marissa put a hand on her hip. Oh, come on. You look way too smart to believe that. If they brought you here, to the Federal Super Academy, then it's not a matter of if, it's when. And when is going to be often. Especially once supers are public and Maxima's Archon team is out there policing us. A young-looking boy zapped into place next to Marissa's leg as she posed heroically. His record's clean. Too clean. Clearly wiped clean. Thanks, Twitchy. As he vanished again, Marissa addressed Jeffrey. Since you don't have an exemption on record, the teachers are going to make you use your power. If you let us see it, we can help. Thane slammed his large butt down to the floor. Come on, bro. You've been holding out on me. What you got? Jeffrey looked around at the crowd of students, all encouraging him to show off his power. Okay. I'll do it once. Only once. Now, the target of my power will see things others won't, so I need them to report back what they experience. Thane raised his hand. Oh, pick me! Sorry, Thane, you're just as likely to tell them you didn't see anything. Besides, I'm not sure you would survive it. And the results would be too unbearably freaky. No, someone else. He looked to the crowd. Hey, so I'm new here. Who's the most trustworthy student? while a couple of fingers went elsewhere. Most pointed firmly at Marissa. Okay, Marissa, you willing to go for a trip? She placed a hand on his shoulder. You will find that honesty goes a long way here, and I'm ready. Jeffrey placed his hand on her arm and hesitated. Oh, first, do you have any body dysphoria, body image disorders, or self-hatred? Seeing her "are you serious" expression, he hastily added, don't get me wrong, you're gorgeous, but even beautiful people can have body disorders and stuff. She nodded. Fine, you're being serious about this, and I should too. No. No body disorders, no self-hate, or at least not enough I would ever deliberately hurt myself. Jeffrey gave a single, deliberate nod. Good. Have fun in there. Her features suddenly morphed, her pink hair turning black like his, her silky white skin gaining his own olive tones, her nose lengthening, all features morphing to mimic his own Pakistani heritage. Addressing this woman, who looked almost identical to himself in every way. Welcome, Totem of Peace. What is your name? She looked around in confusion. Alina? Oh, you must be Jeffrey, the summoner. Why did you summon me here? I summoned you so that my fellow students might help me with my powers. In this universe, your counterpart is Marissa. She said her power is energetic or a projection, or something like that. Is that your power as well? She nodded. Yeah, I project a power aura. It's like a suit of power armor. It protects me and amplifies my strength. With focus, I can even use it to jet around in a ninja hopping motion. Jeffrey asked the crowd rhetorically. I'm assuming Marissa does the same? It would be the first if she can't. Melina, anything different about our school? She looked around. For the cafeteria? We don't have this many skylights, but the ones we do have are bigger. Hey, is that Beefcake Thane? The punk-ass kid who blinded our class in middle school? Wow, he's a hunk in your world. I would totally ride... Jeffrey snapped his fingers, and her features returned to her normal pink and white. Yeah, that's enough of that. He shuddered as Marissa's nose returned to her own shape. As I said, it can get weird and uncomfortable. Marissa blinked in confusion. Where am I? Oh, wow. That was amazing. I've just been spending the last few weeks with other versions of me. Jeffrey pulled up seats for him and Marissa as everyone around was transfixed. Actually, if you focus on your memory, you will see it was the same couple of minutes happening simultaneously in thousands of realities. That just adds up to a feeling of weeks. She sat down. Yeah, I was confused each time it was new, but in every one of them, I greeted myself, calmed me down. Most of them were in school, but some, I helped save people in burning buildings, or from a sinking sub. I never thought of extending my aura around another person before, but I can. Careful, Jeffrey cautioned. Think about that memory very carefully. Be sure it was you who did that, and not the other you. Just because they can, does not mean you can. She focused. No, that was me. My counterpart told me, and I trusted him. His name was Marin, and he protected the oceans. I extended my aura to protect someone from the crushing depths. I know I can. Jeffrey put his hand on Marissa's. Okay, I trust you. You can try it with me if you want. Fane laughed boisterously, rocking on the floor like a big baby. Dude just wants to get closer here. Should have seen it all. Melina was a thirsty horn dog, all ripe and ready for me. Jeffrey sighed deeply. Yes, she was. That's why I don't like using my power in public. Every alt version I've ever summoned is a horny bastard. Here I am, completely asexual. I appreciate Marissa's beauty, but trust me, and please don't be offended when I say it doesn't turn me on at all. So please, let's move past the middle school drama and just help each other. Thane stood up and towered over the seated man. Asexual? What about that display at the dance? You took 2 girls I was after. Jeffrey rubbed the back of his neck. Yeah, I never went to that dance. That was another me. Justin's counterpart. His name was Jonah. I don't even know how to dance, honestly. I've always summoned other me's for our required dance classes. As a little kid, I replaced all my friends with me for playtime. I learned that it was bad to do that without their permission. But it got really weird after puberty. Marissa gripped his chin and turned his head to face her. Come on, aura training. You can share your sad backstory some other time. The two stood up and held each other close. Rainbow energy burned bright around both of them as she focused on extending the aura. It flickered and solidified, pulling in. The aura squeezed their bodies together and lifted them slightly off the floor. The crowd clapped in excitement at the triumph, but Jeffrey cried out in pain. Unsure what was going on, Marissa returned to the ground. As her aura subsided, Jeffrey collapsed against her body, and bloody pieces of his chair fell off of his legs and butt. Marissa saw the blood on the metal and yelled out, Georgie, get the nurse! I'm so sorry. I didn't think I made it that wide. It's okay. We all have much to learn. I'm sure it's not the last time I'll need the nurse. Today. So that is Jeffrey Singh's original story. Let's see. He is in this document somewhere. Let's see, Awaken in Dream? No. Enforce Proc? No. I mean, he makes his first appearance very minorly here in the roll call. F. Paband. I can't remember what Paband means. Let's see. No, meaning in Urdu. punctual. Can also mean attached, as in an exclusive sexual relationship. Consigned involuntarily to custody, as in prison.
पाबंद यानी मुक़ीम फरमाबरदार मातहत.
Okay, that's not helping. Yeah, that's all in presumably Urdu. Let's see. A rope used to hold a horse's forelegs or hind legs. So that would make sense why it would be involuntary custody. A person who is bound, committed, restrained, beholden. Okay. Obliged, restricted, under control. I think where I got it from was being used as kind of a synonym for what was it? That he has high control of his emotions. So, future Paband. I told myself I'm the Sage of Peace. Not sure what that means here yet. He, him, if it's actually me. Later on, they have a little discussion about dating and hitting on F. Paband. Oh, and I second the no perving on me thing. I'm not a kid, but I am asexual, aromantic. I don't care if you think one of me is hot or if they are into you. All of me are off limits. It would probably also be awkward for whoever else they are. At this time, nobody questions that. Let's see, what else do we have for him? Summoner meditate? A young man slowly realized he'd woken up in a blue bedroom. The walls were a deep blue, and the furniture was a lighter shade. He was wearing blue pajamas, with a strange saffron peace sign stitched over a blue crescent moon. He didn't know how he got here, or why he was wearing these pajamas. He looked around and realized he was in a tower overlooking a city. The tower and city were both various shades of blue. There were a bunch of blue boats docked in a bay on one side, while the other side of the city sprawled out before eventually leading into a vast blue plainland. He grabbed the bars on the window to help get a better look over, before realizing his hands were smaller and smoother than he remembered them being. He slowly walked to the mirror, running his hands along the cold glass as he gazed at his reflection. He hadn't seen that face in many years, but it was still a welcome sight. It reminded him of many awkward moments from his youth, but they were happy memories nonetheless. He stroked his bare chin and ran his fingers through his thick black hair. Most of these memories were reflected in the room's decor. Ribbons from science fairs, posters from some of his favorite movies. I want to add... This is the perfect point to add. Let's see, what's the name of the game? No, that's Warframe. There it is. Karam. Wrong one. A Karam board hanging over the bed. Over the head. No. Hanging on the wall. Over the ornate blue bed. And the full voile cloth from his first turban. Despite it being warrior blue, he knew it emotionally represented his Kasari saffron cloth. It was surreal to be surrounded by all of these reminders of his younger self. He remembered the day his father had first tied that turban on his head at the Gurdwara. It was a momentous occasion in his life, one that signified his commitment to one half of his heritage. He could not help but smile at the thought of how much his life had changed since those middle school days. Let's see. His uncle's Karam board. Yes. I could not help but smile at the thought of how much his life had changed since those middle school days. Yet, here he was, in that young body again. Looking around the room, he found his Kirpan dagger mounted on the wall next to the four-poster bed. His steel Kara bracelet and wooden Congo comb lay on the table next to the mirror, and he knew he was already wearing the Kacha undergarment. With his uncut hair as the Kes, he had located all of the 5 Ks of Sikhism. He sat down to properly groom himself with the Kanga before tying his turban to protect the comb and hair. He contemplated the solid steel bracelet and the symbolism of the relic. That was the one article of faith he could not bring himself to wear again. Finally, he put on the kirpan slung at his waist, removing it from its cover. He went through a set of breathing and stepping exercises while practicing his cuts with the short blade. Jeffrey Ashraf? A rough but feminine voice called from the barred window to the chamber, startling the young man from his stance. How would I say that? It's Jeffrey Ashraf? No, I can't mimic what that's supposed to be. He approached and saw White Tiger's face at the bars. He kept himself from flinching and saw deeply into the eyes. This was a person with intelligence and compassion. The light of God is in her eyes, as his father would say. With further reflection, he realized the structure was wrong for a tiger. It was more fitting to a cougar. Hello, love.
Distant mirrors are a further reflection.
It was more fitting to a cougar, a mountain lion. A fellow Sing, then, in a way. And somehow he knew this wasn't a woman by his ordinary standards, but something else. He returned the kirpan to its cover and nodded politely. That is one of my names, yes? Who finds me in my meditation? The cougar's mouth moved with human levels of dexterity to form words despite the muzzle. In this place, I am known as Holmgang Hero, HH, or just the Chakat, much as you are known as the Sing. It is good to see you finally awake, as much as that word can mean anything here. In truth, you are finally asleep enough to be conscious here. Are you entering the game now? Taking a closer look through the bars, Jeffrey saw that there were several blue beings around the cougar person. Her arms, of which she had 4, were all held behind her by some form of metal handcuff bracket. Bracket? Or bracelet?
That's a snare.
I think that's supposed to be bracelet. Nope, bracket. Yeah, it would be a bracket that's a handcuff holding all 4 arms. And yes, that is a snare. Unlike her, he saw no god of light within the yellow spots these dark blue pawn people had for eyes. Their manner of dress indicated that they were guards from multiple units with differing styles. I am not aware of any game here, and as serious as this situation appears, I do recall now I was meditating on a dire emergency. A matter of great danger for my entire world. Yes, your Sing, your world is in danger. We have a plan to save it, but you will need to actually come here to do that. That is, when you are awake. While you sleep, you can prepare other aspects of our victory, but your main duties will require your adult self. He listened to her words, and felt she was speaking truthfully. He could also feel the reverence some of the guards had for him, and that others felt the same for her. Addressing the guards, "Open this door and release her." "Best if you keep me bound." "And why is that?" he asked as a guard unlocked his door. "This is not my city. I am considered a foreign leader here and a weapon of war. They do not yet trust me, and won't until we can hold a congress and change the treaty between our nations. By keeping me guarded and bound, I am allowed to visit you here."
What's this music?
Oh.
I don't need it, but I need that open for my keys.
Jeffrey emerged and inspected her bound body, draped in a long blue dress to cover her long four-legged Tor body. "You bring up a good consideration, Chakat. I do not know where I am. You already know that I am Jeffrey Ashraf Singh. It is a disorienting pleasure to meet you. You are also known as the Summoner." Jeffrey raised an eyebrow to her statement, but she continued. "Yes, I know. This moon is Arda, and you, the Dream You, are the Arden noble of this nation. Your waking self carries another title, the Siege of Peace. That is why we had the peace sign sewn onto your pajamas. My waking self is the Smith of Fate, but I can't access most of the abilities that come with that title from this dream self." Hearing that, he checked the chest of her light blue dress and noticed that the crescent moon on her breast was covered by a dark blue web symbol. In a joking tone, he questioned, 8 limbs, not counting your fluffy tail. Are you a spider? She smirked. The web is the symbol of fate, but I am the Chikat of Tor Nufuan, just as you are the Thing of Erlingus. And we should go visit the Shade of Hyarmenor and the Prince of Belagar. He thought a moment, tapping his beardless chin. I know those names. Lord of... no, Mirkwood? So you are an elven spider cat? Not quite, but that is what the Carapatians, these pawn people, are calling my dream self. In Sundari, I am the Udhilungal. Undar Ungwe in Quena. Both mean elf spider. There are 4 more Arda nobles. Arden nobles. But we have no idea how to contact them because they don't sleep. We have identified some spires we think correspond to their chambers, but there's nothing there. He pondered further, looking over the militaristic pawns. It's very easy to get distracted here. What do you know of me? The waking me, I mean. You are a very powerful weapon in your nation's arsenal, but must be deployed strategically. While you are not destructive yourself, you could turn an enemy to your side who is, but you focus instead on aiding other weapons. Okay. Just a second. Let's see. Not sure I like this wording here. But you focus instead on aiding other weapons. Learn to... aiding other weapons, learn to use their abilities. Just not right. Aiding other weapons...
It might be easier to keep that thing downstairs.
To better learn their abilities. Huh?
I'm just thinking, there's two things that come to mind. Either the ice cube downstairs, like in the dropout thing where it's easier to just fill it in place,
Uh-huh.
or you might use one of the bottles to put it in the freezer and fill it from the bottom. Either one of those, I think, is probably something to look into and figure out what works best.
Also need to figure out how much ice do you want to take with you each day? All of it, or?
Oh yes, all of it.
Right.
It will melt within a few hours. Remember, it's
Yeah.
and really like that cooler and maybe even the water in that. Like if that fits lidless in the garage fridge, that would be cool. Because then the water would be refrigerated.
Yeah, we'll have to find out.
Yeah. If not though, you could probably take like that gallon jug, 2 or 3 of those in the fridge, refill those in the fridge, and then like at night bring them up or whatever. But the point is I would prefer refrigerated water. Unless like cold tap water is about as cold.
I don't think it really is.
Okay. What about apricots? Want any more of these?
Maybe one more.
This one's pretty big. So.
Yeah, mostly want to leave them for you since you have far more appreciation of them than I do.
Well, yeah. It's not that these are the best things ever. Raspberries are. But as far as apricots go, these are really good. So this is like an opportunity to check off the box of apricot really well.
I was also thinking pears. We should probably... I already ate them all. On next times of buying them, probably don't get as many.
Okay.
Since A, it is only me having them instead of you.
Yeah.
And less potential wastage,
Yeah. Did they all get eaten?
less variation. 2 of them were beyond, enjoyability, for sure.
I could get like 2 sets of 2, and one of the bags of 2 is kept in the fridge, and that way it'll ripen slower. Or we just go shopping more often.
Yep. And with you being home so much earlier, that's a far more viable option.
Mm-hmm.
As would be the consideration of going swimming.
Yeah.
Obviously, far less rigorous, especially workout on your end.
Okay.
Okay. But you focus instead on aiding other weapons to better learn their abilities. You are trusted with many of your nation's greatest secrets, and you are one of those secrets. Even more so than those you teach. She gestured with her tail for the pawns to descend the tower as she went on. Feel free to ride my lower back, or just float along beside me. In dreams you need not walk. And this is a dream of sorts. You were meditating, trying to find out how to save your world. You went too deep and fell asleep, but this is good. It means we can start preparing for you to arrive here in person. I also know you have a power which you cannot use in dream form. Once you enter, you must not use that power on any of the game characters or any dream person. Only use it on other players' waking selves. And even then, some of us you shouldn't use it on. Me, for example. You really don't want to meet the person you and I would make. She had barely finished speaking when Jeffrey realized he was sitting on her back, overlooking a narrow isthmus with plains on one side and a dense forest on the other. How did we get here? You aren't bound anymore either. She looked back over her double shoulders with a smile. Oh, welcome back. How much of my speech did you miss? You said I could ride you and prepare for my entry. Then you told me how much you know about my power.
There was a box in the box.
Just what every cat wants. A box in a box.
You can jump in a box while you're jumping in a box. Just like
He thought about it more
Good
and...
morning. I'm distracting you.
Yes, you are distracting me. He thought about it more and realized there were other hazy memories. Then you were telling me something about a dead girl in my world? That I wouldn't be able to convince her to join our fight, despite my power as the summoner. Close enough. Once we got to the wall of your city, they unbound me, and we traveled to the border of your country and hers. As in your dream country, not the United States.
The sticker told me these things are meant to be stackable. That's kind of neat.
Yeah. That is. No.
Too late. No, it's over here.
Flexible jerk. As in your dream countries, not the United States. Still odd to think of worlds where that still exists. Dream travel can be pretty fast if it doesn't matter, or way too long if it does. But what you just experienced was a desync. Your dream self goes on autopilot. If you think hard, you can recall what it did, but it's never quite all there. The autopilot is a bit dumb. That's why you were locked up. To keep the autopilot from getting your dream body killed. He looked out over the forest. And this is the Darklands? Hyarmenor. Best to call it what the game does. Besides, there are lots of Darklands across this game world. She took off, floating across the isthmus at a substantial speed. Jeffrey knew he wouldn't be able to keep up if he wasn't riding her. You keep calling this a game, but insist it can save my world? Many, she replied. All of the players, except Time, are coming from worlds or ships that are about to suffer a major cataclysm. For some, it will mean the end of all life. For others, the end of everything. Some are prevented if they enter this game, and some are doomed regardless of what we do. But yours? Your world is one we must actively save after you enter the game. I am hoping the Shade of Hyarmenor can tell us how before you wake up. If not, you will have to find her in the waking world. Then the cosmic rift my planet is headed for can be closed. And we must see if she is sleeping, or awake, I guess. If she is sleeping and in autopilot, then she would be of little help. I think I'm actually waking up as well. Either way, I'm going to check her dream spire first, then check on the Prince of Beliger's spire. If you do come here without me, know that you must let the guards here bind you, and summon guards from all our realms to watch you while you go in to visit her. If you don't, it could start a war we don't want to fight. Swaying slightly as he gripped her shoulders. Good to know. I can feel waking. Thank you. He slumped forward and poofed away. Chakot was confident he'd just been teleported back to his spire. He'd be safe there. Was that exasperated sound mimicking the poof? Okay. Prompt. Chakot, visit the Shade. With practiced ease, the Chakot let her focus drift just enough, then regained focus right as her dream body arrived at the tunnels into the mausoleum city under the forest. As guards bound and led her through the tunnels, she asked them, "Since the readers are watching, why do we do this?" In their wordless way, the guards made clear that they were loyal to the Congress of Arda, not to some mythical reader, and not to some narrative force. Congress had stipulated that the various convention members, being superweapons in their own right, could only visit the other convention realms if they committed to binding and observation. Since this ruling would require 5 votes to change, it would have to wait till more members could attend the Congress. Even with the Sing in the Shade, she would still need 2 more. The Prince of Beliger was unlikely to be on her side here when he woke, but she would still try to convince him. That left 4 more members. The Empress, the Aha, the Chief, and the Shogun. But their dream bodies had never been located. Then there were strange mentionings of the Pharaoh, but no corresponding nation had been located in the entire moon over which the Convention Congress ruled. The procession continued up the cavern wall to the ceiling, then down the largest of the stalactites. Arriving at the bottom of the upside-down spire, the Chakot looked into the barred bedchamber. A human girl floated over a hammock, her hair flowing all around as if suspended in a lake. Why is it saying my spelling of hammock is wrong? It's saying it's wrong, but it's not telling me what is right.
Oh, 2 M's O-C-K.
Okay.
Okay. Gotcha.
A human girl floated over a hammock, her hair flowing all around as if suspended in a lake. A second girl slept in the hammock itself below her. Both wore blue dress pajamas, one tattered and flowing, the other pristine. On both chests they bore a set of 6 slices of pink cloth stitched on with black thread, converging at their tips. Retrospector, can you hear me? A raspy, echoing voice replied, I was wondering when you would come see me, Chakat Thorn. The Chakat was taken aback by the Shade's response. You already know what is going on? Who I am? Yes and no. Our time frames are not aligned. I am dreaming from the future. No, from a future. I am dreaming from a future, and this other me is from my past. I am divided and whole, but the past dream is not awake, so you are speaking now with only the future. The tattered shade turned, still hovering over her sleeping dream body, to stare with black eyes through the Chakat's very being. My past self was the seer of space. She would have been able to create portals, teleport objects and people, to see where everything is, even without eyes. But that is not who I will be. I will have a new title when we meet directly. But here, in the Dreamlands, I have yet another name, do I not? These shade selves are blind in normal sight. I cannot access my aspect from these bodies. I can only see through the looping of time in my paradoxical existence. Such sight is exhausting to parse. Then you have my pity and respect, mighty shade, specter of the past, present, and future. I come seeking your counsel regarding the Sing. No. You come regarding my vote in Congress. Neither of me shall vote with you until the prince is convinced it is right. As for the Sing, his president will send him to me. In previous timelines, I called upon him directly and entered with him as my ride-along. But this time, he will perform the entry for us. We shall split responsibilities. I am the server and client from our land, but he shall be our questant, leaving me free to complete my ectobiological duties, while he uses my land's quests to better understand his own powers. Okay, I need to figure out... Okay, previous timelines, I called upon him directly, entered him with him as my ride-along. This time he will perform the entry for us. I am the server and client, but he shall be our questant. Leaving me free to complete my ectobiological duties while he uses... That should be our land's quest to better understand his own powers. His powers. New. better understand his new powers. Tell Giggles to finish preparations for the land of velvet and bright light events. Lovable will require implantation from all other lands, even the dead lands. I will need a chunk of old flags and mirrors next to my plateau, and dotting the entire border, I will need macroalgae and diamonds. Chicot went wide-eyed. That is quite an undertaking, but I'll let her know. And I'm saddened I won't have your vote. You will, just not as soon as you would prefer. Is that finished enough to end the chapter there? Because then we suddenly go into Gems Assemble. Which is where Max Sykes and Star Spinell land at Falls Prison. This feels like it needs more. But I'm not quite sure where to take this. Because most of anything else she would have to say is more things I want to be discovered in a later chapter. I mean, would this be just a good place to have her say, you know, now this interview is done, you know, to just end it? Probably. So it's not so much it needs more as it needs closure. See, and now part from each have much to do before entry. Now depart from me. We each have much to do before entry. Yeah, that's looking good. Which also means that I am going to have to reread their entry sequence and make sure that I am clear about this that he's the one performing the entry, not her. Because I think I still have her as the one taking the ring from the ring wraith. So, yeah, I'm going to need to have him be the one putting the ring on. Even if she's the one who takes it. Yeah, I like that. She'll take the ring from the ring wraith, but he'll put it on. Yeah. Siege depart. This whole section, I think, needs additional review. Well, maybe I already cleaned it up. I'm not seeing any of my old markings. So, yeah, let's read that section. Prompt, Jeffrey returned. A Pakistani-American man sat alone in a black void, meditating in lotus position. While he started off naked, as he opened his arms, a light gathered around him and formed into a kurta pajama with a nice jacket, all themed in reds and blues with white highlights. Lastly, the insignia of the Federal Super Support formed on the left chest panel. He hated working for such a secretive organization, but at least for now he trusted his superiors. The summoner will be right out, Mr. President. His secretary's voice spoke from the next room as she opened the door to the chamber. The void faded to light as he opened his eyes and saw Barack Obama taking a seat on a cushion across from his meditation rug. Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. President. I have made progress in my investigation. Quite all right, young man. Colonel Conundrum doesn't have the full picture, and neither do you. Though, I think you've just gotten a much bigger look. In a way, you are the only one who can save us. This is probably... Which one of these is right? I can't remember. What did I have? No, not reference that. Reference my core document. Player characters. Where is he? Podant. Okay, so that's the orange and light blue. This one. Okay. Why does that not feel right? Copy. Yeah, okay, that's right. Okay. In a way, you are the only one who can save us. My apologies, sir. but I am not confident in that. My contacts inform me there is another, and even my power will not be able to get her to help. The source of the threat is in another world. I'm gonna have to cut you off there. He turned slightly to get the attention of his Secret Service personnel. Gentlemen, I need a moment in private with the summoner. One started to protest, but Obama tilted his head in a way that suggested they were being overly protective again. This is a secure bunker, and he is one of our most trusted national secrets. I'll be fine, Paul. Reluctantly, they withdrew, allowing Obama to continue his conversation. You don't need to convince her, or me. She isn't going to be your challenge through this. Shakat was giving you a warning meant for your previous time loops. That was before I decided to intervene to help your game session. How do you know about the game? Mr. Obama leaned in. Throughout the multiverses, there have been many sessions. In one of those, I was a player, much like you, Mr. Siege of Peace. In that session, I was a Hope player. We won. After we won, I reached out to contact all of myself in every reality. Most I learned from and left to their paths. But sometimes, I find it prudent to intervene. And brother, do you need an intervention? Across all the realities I exist in, I've never seen a session as messed up as yours. Jeffrey took a deep breath to contemplate this. And my dream self? A projection of your body when you were a child, when you were at your greatest peace. That's about all this version of me knows on that. But if you'd like to summon my totem of peace for more, I think I'd like to meet myself. Jeffrey blinked and stayed his hand. Part of him really wanted to, but his training kicked in. Sir, I was instructed to never use my power on superior officers. Instructed to only use my power on superior officers in a dire emergency, to save their lives. You are my commander-in-chief, my most senior officer. If you order it, I will. Otherwise, my standing orders prohibit it. Barack Obama smiled and nodded. I'm a Hope player, Jeffrey, and ironically, that is the opposite of law in many ways. So, I'm not going to order you here. As a player in this world, you sort of outrank me. You are a prince, or sing, on your moon for your own nation of Carapacians. You are a siege, which is translated as seat or throne, much like the Pope's Holy See. So, I'll treat you not as my subordinate superhero, but as a fellow head of state. He paused, stroked his bare chin, then continued. And, in truth, if you don't figure out how to fix your session, then this version of me dies with the rest of Earth when we all portal into that session. Since we aren't players, if we go through that portal, we all become doomed. That quickly attracts a gruesome end. Since we aren't players, at least not this version of me, very well, sir. You, more than most, know the risks of my power, and you consent. Jeffrey stretched forth his hand and laid it upon Obama's shoulder. The president's features shifted slightly, his skin tone lightening just a touch, his jawline taking a sharper angle. Soon, Jeffrey opened his eyes to see an almost perfect reflection of himself sitting on the president's cushion. "Welcome, Totem of Peace. What is your name?" "I am Jeffrey Hussein Obama Singh." The man looked around, getting his bearings. "Thank you for summoning me. The Obama from your world is preparing things for you with other versions of myself. Lessons that you and your readers are not yet ready to know. As for you, I have a limo ready to take you to the Ghost Recon Tower. That is the headquarters of a secret, privately operated super hit squad. Their team lead is a player. You must inform her that this is her last bounce. She will understand." Prompt. Siege depart. As the president's totem had stated, a limo drove the Siege of Peace to the base of a giant skyscraper. He walked up to the reception desk, where a nice lady welcomed him with his game title. She directed him to the executive elevator and answered his question before he could even ask it. "If our little princess didn't want you here, she'd have made sure you didn't arrive. Instead, she told me what you look like, when you were to arrive, what I should call you, and that you would ask why security here wasn't tighter. I assure you, Siege of Peace, we are quite safe here. Until the recent Archon announcement, the public government didn't even know we existed." At the top of the tower, Jeffrey emerged from the elevator to find several silvery machines lined up on the rooftop. Something inside him told him what each one was called. A jumper block extension popped into place, connected to the alchemeter, followed by several brownish-red boxes with a slot in the front. These punch card shunts levitated through the air, and when he squinted just right, he could see them held aloft by a computer cursor. After slotting them all onto the jumper block extension, the cursor levitated over a pair of earbuds. He grabbed the buds from the air and placed them in his ears. "Hello?" Okay. "Hello, you must be the other hero, Jeffrey. Retro told us you'd be joining her entry. Weird Dabby, or Dee Dee, will be helping you two get into the session." "And where is Retro now?" "She's ensuring that, let's see, that should be conjuncted. She's ensuring that her squad will not interfere. Like you, she works with other supers. Did you tell your commander you won't be back?" "Not exactly. He told me. He also had a message for Retrospector." "I hope it's good. I cut my meeting short when I saw how early you came this time. Something's different this loop." The small black girl phased up through the floor and looked at him expectantly. "President Obama states that this will be your last bounce, but he refused to elaborate, other than to say you told him to have me tell you now." "Fuck. Not good news." He's an extra-dimensional being. That's why I didn't see it coming. Last bounce, huh? Here's hoping I've learned enough. Most of what I've done for the team so far has been as a seer of space. The last few hundred loops, I've been Vega bounced into random class specs to learn everything I can about our session. If he says this is the last one, then it must be the one I have to remain as for us to win. How can I help? She pointed over to a computer. First, there's something you have to do to keep this from becoming a doomed timeline. Go read the transtemporal memo from Max Sykes. Reply when it feels right. Then help me finish here. In the meantime, I have to relay new orders to my squad below so my president doesn't kill them when I don't come back. Phasing back through the floor, the little girl was gone. Oh, she's quite the brusque one. Like many of us, she has need to be. Unlike most of us, she's used to having all the time she needs to solve everything. A luxury she is going to be denied, and will never have again once she enters the medium. Yes, I think Chakat mentioned that in my dreams. Did she? In the new version, I'm not sure if she did mention that. Ba, 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 ba. Shade of Heart Marminor. You're trusted. Right on my back. Meditating, fell asleep. The desync, autopilot. All players. Okay. Also, this looks slightly different than... Oh, that is not as helpful as I was hoping. Dang. It's picking up the same information. Okay, so I've got FCA 020. And here it is. FCA 020. Okay, good. 0459cc and 0459cc. Good. Now it is the Yatra font. Whereas right here, it's Arial. I need to switch that to Yatra. Okay. There, that looks a lot better. Yeah. Okay. Wish there was a keyboard shortcut so I didn't have to keep mousing up to that. But I have searched and searched and searched, and it looks like there is no such shortcut. All right. That looks a lot better. But I could not find Chakat ever mentioning that about Retrospector. So how do I want to adjust that? Because in an old version of this chapter, she did mention it. And since Dee Dee is specifically, this informs Dee Dee that he's already woken up, I need to keep something about that in this paragraph. I'm surprised Chakat didn't mention that in my dreams. But then my time awake there was fairly limited. Alchemized cards floated over and inserted into the shunts, altering the alchemeter. Oh, good, you've already woken in dream. Let's see. I must admit to a little worry about that myself. I'm on the black moon of Durse, but Jenny says that Kalkan, Thugzul, Foxy, and I have yet to awaken, and she's been in the session with us a while from her perspective. Jeffrey read the memo, paying attention here and there, while also watching Dee Dee painstakingly assemble the new alchemeter design with only her cursor. It appeared difficult to implement in a 3D environment from her 2D view. If he didn't fear dooming their timeline by missing his appointed replies, he'd have stood up and helped her more directly. All right. It's been a few days since the version of me who last talked to you. If this is the version you end up remembering, then good job, you didn't doom us. I gotta say, I am not happy about this being my last bounce. I don't like my new class spec. But if I don't do it, we are doomed. If I tell you what it is, we are doomed. If I do it too early, we are doomed. If it's random, how do you know what you're getting? Weren't you listening? I've been repeating time, doing it over and over until we get the next few hours just right. I don't think you said that this loop, dear. Oh, sorry, I don't normally work under such rushed conditions. Time is normally my tool, not my enemy. Working together, they completed the all-in-one alchemization station, using a second jumper block extension card in a shunt to make the jumper block into a small panel with the rest of the controls. With this, they no longer needed so many steps to duplicate, add, subtract, multiply, and divide any existing cards into new items, so long as they had enough grist. They then set to work alchemizing. No. The prototyping item and preparing the pre-punched card. I was under the impression we would both have our own entry item. Would he be? No. No, the president didn't mention that, so yes, he still would be. But I see only the one pre-punched card. Are we not to have our own lands in this session? We each have our own nations on our moon, a feature unique to the blue moon, but the land you were going to spawn in comes with a piece-specific feature called the Prism of Unity. The Prism of Unity, which helps unify the players. With our team composition, it would implode our powers and destroy us all the moment it is turned on. There are several ways it can, and eventually will, be activated if it exists. So instead, you will enter with me on my land. No, instead you will enter for us on my land. Several others have dangerous land features and will be entering without them for similar reasons. They are just lucky you are a commander class and not a sovereign. This wouldn't have worked. What am I to do on your land, then? You will be my questant, going through the land's story quests, fighting through my dungeons. I was a seer, but through the quests, you will learn about my new class spec, and through that, you will also learn about your own. I will be quite busy with other matters, since our remaining space player won't be able to do those duties. And I've already learned them. I already learned them when I was space. You still are space. Or you still are space. Yes, but I won't be shortly, and haven't been for most of my past few days. What should I know about Siege of Peace? Not much has been written about either, but for Siege, my best advice is for you to roleplay as a king living in exile, since you won't have your own land. You must recruit people to support you as you support them, or you will fail. And from this moment on, do not do anything anyone else tells you to do until you've decided it must be done yourself. Actively think about everything you want to accomplish and do that. If you don't, the game will punish you. Do not ask for general advice. Be specific and commanding in the knowledge you seek. That may be quite difficult for me. I'm a follower, not a commander. Which is why the game gave you this title. It is pushing you to grow into something you have not yet been. It will not be easy. You will stumble. But keep getting up. Keep moving forward. Keep believing in yourself, and you will do better. That was uncharacteristically positive and inspiring of you, my dear. Not my words. Jeffrey told me what to tell him to get him motivated. Then it would appear I was right. Let us push forward. We have a planet to save and a universe to build. As for peace, you will have limited healing abilities, and some documents say it's basically a reskin of Heart. So I'll be blunt. Every Heart player I've read about was a messed up asshole. Here's hoping you can handle it better. Retro spoke to her Colonel Sprite and asked for it to come prototype the crystal ball they alchemized from Maxie's list. Don't we have to wait for Maxie? We are in the future from her perspective. She's been in for quite a while. As has Lily, even though Lily's from this world's distant future. If we actually went to Lily's home right now, she'd still be stuck as stone. But she'll wake up in a few thousand years, enter the game, and then we'll be meeting her soon. You know, assuming we don't fuck up. We have to send her home to the past, send her computer to the present, and send some babies to the future and the past. Then we can close the portal. I'll handle all that, so don't worry. Here's where I need to fix things. While she spoke, he barely noticed Dee Dee using the pre-punched card. A bluish ring wraith appeared and offered Retro a ring from its skeletal finger before vanishing. Okay, so I need to change it from her putting the ring on. She floated over. She floated over to Jeffrey and held out the ring. Looking at it, he contemplated everything that had been expressed to him on this bizarre day. And instinctively knew that he had to put on the ring. The one ring. Yet he paused. No. I must decide to put it on. Retrospector cracked a small smile and nodded. Well, I've always fantasized about wearing a magic ring. Might as well be today. Putting on the one ring, the roof, and everything else above the top floor. That's better. Let's see. It's 1700 now. So I've only been going for 2 hours. But I think that's about all my brain is going to be able to take for writing today. And unfortunately, we don't have any viewers today, so I'm not going to be raiding anywhere. I think I'm just going to be calling it a day there. So for anybody who's watching the VOD after the fact, thank you very much. It means a lot to me. I'm trying to stream usually for, 3 to 5 hours every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday from starting about 3 p.m. Mountain Time. You can check my posted schedule to have the time adjusted to your local area. Thank you very much. Thanks for Thanks for watching as I tried to work through some writer's block and fix some editing issues. Safe journeys.